lovely people, Nina here. So last week was Independent Bookstore Week, which is a week, it was on Saturday, and it was just a week and a day, specifically Saturday, to celebrate small businesses and small local independent bookstores. And it's a whole thing, a whole event, and it's amazing. And normally I get to go to more than one, but last week was quite busy, so I went to just one. And I got a few books, and so today I thought I would do a little bit of a book haul. I have 4 different books, 2 new and 2 used, because the bookstore that I went to was doing like event where if you bought a new book, then you got a used one for half the price. So I bought 2 new ones at full price and then 2 used ones at half the price. So I figured I'd go through all the ones I got and talk a little bit about it. My bookstore is doing other like events, and they generally try to make it like a whole thing, and it's just really fun. So if you haven't celebrated or participated in an independent bookstore day, you should. Next year I'll put like the link down below so you can check it out next year, and also just make sure to go support your local independent bookstores. But one of the first books I got, these are the used books I figured I'd go through first. This was originally $8 and I got it for $4. This is The Song of Achilles, which I have read before, and I'm pretty sure I have a review of it on this channel. I love this book so much. So The Song of Achilles follows Achilles and Patroclus, they're the 2 main characters, and their relationship and how they get along, and it's a retelling of the Trojan War, and it follows also a bunch of different Greek gods and goddesses and intertwines all of their lives, and it's so devastatingly sad but so good, and I just love this. I saw this was a used copy, and I was like, you know what, I absolutely need to own this. I borrowed my sister's copy of this, so I didn't have my own like physical copy, and so I was like, yeah, I need this. And the only thing that's really like wrong with it is it's like a little bit bent on the back, and so it's got a little bit of like lines. Otherwise it's in like perfect condition. So I'm super excited about this. Yeah, I will be reading this again maybe this summer, just because I love it so much. So the next used book that I got is A Man Called Ove. This is by Fredrik Backman, who's Swedish. I think it's Uwe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what it is. I do like Fredrik Backman as a writer. I've read quite a few of his books now. The last one I read was Beartown, which is like, okay, not my favorite. This one, I've not read the book yet, but I've watched the movie, which is like the most controversial thing that I think I could say. But I watched the movie with my family because I think my mom and my dad and maybe my younger sister too, I don't remember, had read the book, but I hadn't read it yet, and I was like, well, I'll watch the movie and I'll go back. I'll do the reverse and go back and read the book. I didn't own the book, so they had a used copy at my local bookstore, and I was very excited about it. This again was $8, and I got it for $4 because I got it for half price. So an amazing, and it's in like perfect condition again, so an amazing find. This one is about a man called Ove. They made an American version called A Man Called Otto, and I refuse to ever see that. But it's about like basically stubborn man named Uwe. It says, at first sight, Uwe is almost certainly the grumpiest man you'll ever meet, a curmudgeon with staunch principles, strict routines, and a short fuse. People think of him as bitter and thinks of himself surrounded by idiots. Uwe's well-ordered, solitary world gets a shake-up one November morning with the appearance of new neighbors, a chatty young couple, and their 2 boisterous daughters, who announce their arrival by accidentally flattening Uwe's mailbox with their U-Haul. And it just follows this old man and his encounters with people in the town, in the neighborhood. And the movie was very good and very sad, so I know what to expect with the book. Yeah, I'm excited to read this. The next ones I have are both brand new. The first one is Hope, which is Jane Goodall's and Douglas Abrams with Gail Hudson. A survival guide for trying times. I love Jane Goodall, and she just passed, and so I was like, I absolutely want to read this book. I'm very excited about this. The inside says, looking at the headlines, the worsening climate crisis, a global pandemic, a loss of biodiversity, political upheaval, it can be hard to feel optimistic, and yet hope has never been more desperately needed. In this urgent book, Jane Goodall, the world's most famous living naturalist, and Douglas Abrams, internationally best-selling co-author of the Book of Joy, explore through intimate and thought-provoking dialogue one of the most sought-after and least understood elements of human nature, hope. And it says the book focuses on 4 reasons of hope, and that's like her focus on, and goes on. But I just feel like this is a really good book for right now, especially with everything that's happening, and it currently feels like everything is just like on fire and combusting, and it's really hard. So I feel like a book of hope is maybe a good read. So I'm excited to read this. Again, I feel like this will be another good summer read. So there's this one. I'm excited about that. I've had that on my want to read for a while, since it came out for a while. The last book I have is called Celestial Lights by Cecile Pin, I think is how you say it. I picked this up because they had it propped on a shelf with recommended books, I think is where it was. And it sounded really, really good. So and I haven't heard of this before. It's not on my StoryGraph, so I was like, this sounds really good. And with the whole orbiting the moon and going up into space again and that thing, the whole thing, I figure a space book is a good read for this year. So this one says, soon after the launch of the Challenger space shuttle falls out of the sky and into the sea, at the same time Oliver Innes is born. Celestial Lights is his story. Ollie spends his childhood in an English village where his bedroom is covered in glow-in-the-dark wallpaper bearing the planets and stars. Decades later, he has become one of the most renowned astronauts of his time. When an enterprising billionaire taps him to lead the landmark mission to the distant moon Europa, Ollie makes a choice that will send his whole world spinning. A mission that advances deeper into uncharted territory, Ollie finds himself retreating into the past. And then it just goes on from there. But I just thought this sounded really good, and it feels appropriate considering that we just had our own space moon orbiting rocket launch, and it went really well, and it was history in the making. So I figure reading about space. Also, I love reading about nature and space. I just think it's so fun. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I hope it's good. I have not heard anything about this. I just saw it on the shelf and I was like, this sounds interesting. So if you know anything or you've heard of this, let me know. I'm excited. So those are the 4 books that I got. You have Song of Achilles, A Man Called Uwe, Hope, the Book of Hope, and then Celestial Lights. These are all very I feel like me branded books. A little bit of sad, a little bit of hope, a little bit of nature, a little love story. Yeah, these are very my genre of book style. Yeah, I'm excited about all of these. Again, all for Independent Bookstore Day. Look up local bookstores if you have any near you, and see if anyone is doing Independent Bookstore Day next year. There were like so many. If you look at the map, there's so many bookstores that participated, like all over the US. It was crazy. So yeah, support your local bookstores because they need it. Also, I got a really cool, wait, let me show you. I got a really cool, here. I got a really cool bookmark too as part of their thing that says, I was from the future to save your place in a book. And a little book thing, and then the little Independent Bookstore thing on the back. And then one day, 50 states, 1,600 plus bookstores. So, and then this one, a little sticker that says, I love my indie bookstore, which I'll put in my little notebook. Yeah. It was just cute, and I love that they did this. My bookstore also had a whole, like, section of, like, blind date with a book, but I couldn't, I was so indecisive, and I was like, I don't know. So I might have to go back and pick one of those up, because I always think that would sound fun, so maybe I'll do that. But yeah, these are all the books I got. Let me know if you've read any of these down below. I love you all. That is all for this week's video. I will see you next week. As always, free Palestine, and may all people live free from oppression. I will see you next week. Bye!